nowhere in the world have I seen women more comfortable with power and less apologetic about being in charge. And it comes from many things, but part of it was from having tested themselves deeply and thoroughly in battle. And when I would talk to US folks who were their counterparts on the special operations side, they would say it wasn't about, well, they were this kind of warrior, that kind of warrior. It was about the fact that they prepared and prepared and prepared and prepared, and they were always ready to execute and get the job done. And you cannot replicate that will, and you cannot replicate courage of that kind, to be able to willing to take an objective and to do whatever is required to keep it and then advance. And that's what you heard over and over. It was not an accident that US folks who were authorizing the airstrikes in the battle for Kobani would end up sleeping in their conference rooms on Tempur-Pedic mattresses because they wanted to be ready in case they were needed at any time, after they were watching these women and men fight room by room and house by house. And here's Rojda in Kobani, puts her AK-47 through a wall and brushes up against the leg of an ISIS fighter. That's how close they were to the people who had come to kill them. And so I think that, to me, trying to capture for the reader their courage and their commitment and their valor, because the first thing that they said, one of the members of the Women's Protection Unit said to me in the summer of 2017 was, we're writing our own history now. This is not about us only. This is about all the generations of girls to come later.
And as you say, that incredible, real motivation, you quoted one of the women commanders trying to rally her troops, as you point out, whether you're male or female, you're in this terrifying situation, and you have to keep up as the leader. You have to keep up their morale. And she said to her sister warriors, she said, "Remember, this fight is not just for you. It would be better to die with dignity here today than to become their slave." So when you, as you say, are brushing up against that lead, and you think it's not just about getting shot, this is beyond what we are fighting for. Is we're fighting against the enslavement as well. So
that's right. Very much so. And you talk about the crossing in the town of Manbij. So women led that. And actually, it was a US service member who said, it was women who crossed at night in a really dangerous crossing to Manbij.
Most of them couldn't swim.
That's correct. And they wouldn't take the Americans' flotation devices because sometimes they weighed more than they did. Right. And in some cases they said, oh, you know what? Americans like, no, I'm not taking your fancy gear. I'm either going to make it or I'm not going to make it, but I'm not going to die drowning with this thing. I know what I'm here for, and that's all I care about. And the Americans were truly taken aback by just the absolute commitment. And that's why there's a moment where there's a member of the US Special Operations community is watching all these young women, some with flowers in their hair, in the flatbed of a truck going off to fight ISIS, kind of hugging each other and high-fiving as they're at the rally point. And he thinks of the MacArthur speech at West Point in 1962, duty, honor, country.